Something was off. The digital clock on my nightstand blinked 3:08 a.m., its faint red glow barely illuminating the corner of my cluttered bedroom. The silence in the house felt unnatural. Not the peaceful kind you'd expect at that hour, but a sneaky, calculated kind. The kind that creeps in when someone is trying very hard not to make a sound. And then I heard it. A whisper. A giggle. Footsteps. Inside my room. I didn't move. I kept breathing slowly, evenly, pretending to be asleep. I cracked one eye just enough to see shadows moving near my desk. The desk where I left my wallet, like an idiot. My stepmother, Vanessa, stood with her back to me. Her two daughters, Camille and Jada, were crouched beside her, phones out, cameras scanning something. Camille's phone made a tiny shutter sound. They all froze. I could feel my pulse thudding in my ears. I should have sat up. I should have shouted. But something told me not yet. They tiptoed out moments later, the door closing with a soft click. I sat up, heart racing, every muscle tight. I grabbed my phone and opened my banking app. I stared at the last transaction. Nothing yet. I had a sick feeling in my stomach. These women had always hated me. Not in an overt way. In a smiling to your face while planning your downfall kind of way. Ever since Dad passed 2 years ago, they tolerated me because I owned half the house, and because they needed my share to keep living their lavish lifestyle. Vanessa pretended to care. Camille called me quiet and weird. Jada? She just ignored me. I worked a remote IT job, kept to myself, lived modestly. I didn't flaunt money, but I had savings. They knew I had one luxury. My platinum credit card, kept for emergencies and work trips. I always kept it hidden, except last night. I used it to renew my flight miles. I must have left it on the desk. They took pictures of it. By 7 a.m., I got the notification. Thank you for your $36,740 purchase with Jet Lux Airways. My throat dried up. Then came another. Booking confirmed for White Sand Estates, Maldives, $59,200. And another. Elite Spa Experience Package, for people, $4,800. Total, $100,740. They really did it. I stared at my screen, numb. There was no attempt to cover it up. Not even a fake name. They used my full billing address, my email, even linked it to my profile. Either they were incredibly stupid or very sure I wouldn't dare do anything about it. At 9 a.m., I walked into the kitchen. The table was empty, but Vanessa's phone was charging beside a half-eaten croissant. I tapped it. No password. I opened her email. Confirmation emails for the trip. Sent to her inbox. Forwarded to both daughters. My fingers hovered over the screen. I didn't delete anything. I didn't scream. I didn't rage. Instead, I made one phone call. Not to the police. Not to the bank. To someone else. Someone who owed me a favor, a big one. 3 days later, I sat on the front porch with a cup of chamomile tea, the evening breeze teasing loose strands of my hair as the driveway came alive with flashing lights and high-pitched laughter. They were back. Sun-kissed. Dripping in designer wear. Vanessa wore oversized shades and a linen jumpsuit worth more than my car. Camille pulled a luxury tote from the trunk and flung it over her shoulder like a movie star. Jada looked tanned, glowing, already flipping through photos on her phone. They strutted up the porch steps, not even pausing when they saw me. Thanks for the trip, Camille grinned, cocking her head. Seriously, you should sleep more often. Vanessa giggled. Don't worry, honey. We'll pay you back, eventually. They walked right past me like I was nothing. I stared at them, then burst out laughing. Not a fake laugh. A genuine, full-bodied one. They froze mid-step. Vanessa turned, eyebrows raised. What's so funny? I wiped a tear from my eye and stood up, my voice light. Oh, nothing. Just thinking that was probably the most expensive trip of your lives. And you enjoyed every second of it. Jada narrowed her eyes. What are you talking about? I walked up to them, calm, confident. The card you used wasn't mine? Camille scoffed. Yes it was. You think we're stupid? Oh, I know exactly how smart you think you are, I replied, pulling my phone from my pocket. I tapped a few times. You used a clone. Vanessa's smile twitched. A what? A clone, I repeated, voice icy now. A decoy card tied to a separate account. Set up specifically to test digital fraud.
It's flagged.
Every purchase you made was pre-approved.
Watched. Documented.
And guess what? That account's not in my name. Jada blinked. Wait, what? Oh, and the money? I leaned closer, lowering my voice. It was already set aside for a sting operation. You didn't steal my money. You walked straight into a net. Vanessa's face drained of color. You're bluffing. But I wasn't. And they knew it. Vanessa blinked rapidly like she was trying to process what I'd just said, but her brain kept rejecting it. You're messing with us, she muttered. There's no way. Oh, but there is, I said softly. You see, I've been quietly building something. I never said much because, frankly, none of you ever cared to ask. But I work in cybersecurity now, real-time fraud defense for major financial institutions. I held up my phone, showing the screen. Monitoring account, access granted, 3:11 a.m. photo timestamp, Vanessa_touch_ID. Camille's face crumpled. Wait, you recorded us? You recorded yourselves, I replied. Remember your mom's phone? No password. I mirrored it. Every photo, every booking, every message. You handed it all to me. Jada crossed her arms, her voice shaking. So, what? You're gonna call the cops now? You want to throw us in jail for a vacation? I shook my head slowly.
No.
That's not what I want. A flicker of relief crossed Vanessa's eyes. She smirked again, but it was weaker this time.
So, what do you want?
An apology? A thank you card? I stepped closer, looking straight into her eyes. I want you to remember this moment. Not because I'm angry. Not because I want revenge. But because I want you to realize how much effort it took for me not to destroy you. The silence was thick. I continued. You used me. You humiliated me. You laughed behind my back and smirked like you'd won. But instead of punishing you, I chose something else. Vanessa's voice was small now. What did you choose? I smiled, gentle, but with steel behind it. Kindness, with consequences. Behind me, a luxury sedan pulled into the driveway. A tall man in a navy suit stepped out, Marcus Kane, VP of one of the biggest cybersecurity firms in the country. My mentor. My former professor. Now my business partner. He gave a short wave. Everything's in place, he said calmly, holding a folder. Jada's voice cracked. Who is that? I turned slightly. He's the one who co-designed the clone account you so happily looted. We let you go through with it because we needed a real-world test scenario. Camille whispered. You used us. No, I corrected. You used me. I just didn't stop you. Marcus handed me the folder, and I flipped it open. Inside were the full transaction logs, the mirrored messages, timestamps, and even screenshots from Vanessa's email, proof of everything. But at the very back were 3 neatly typed letters. Camille squinted. What's that? I handed one to each of them. Your contracts. Vanessa's hands trembled. What do you mean, contracts? I nodded toward the man by the car. Marcus and I have been building a program for at-risk youth, those who've committed digital crimes out of desperation or ignorance. We offer an alternative to criminal charges, under one condition. Jada's voice was a whisper. We work for you. You learn from me, I said. You go through the 6-month correctional mentorship. You understand the technology you misused. And maybe, just maybe, you'll realize the cost of what you did wasn't money.
It was trust.
Integrity. Vanessa looked like she wanted the ground to swallow her whole. And if we don't, Camille said, crossing her arms. Then, Marcus said with a neutral tone, the DA gets this folder. And we walk away.
They didn't answer that day.
They didn't scream. They didn't cry. They just stood there, looking at each other, 3 people who thought they were in control, now dangling off the edge of a cliff built by their own greed. I turned and walked inside, closing the door behind me. I didn't look back. That night, I stood by my bedroom window, watching the moonlight dance across the glass. I thought I'd feel victorious. I thought I'd feel something sharp and triumphant. But instead, I felt peace. Not because I won, but because I didn't become like them. I didn't become bitter, cruel, or petty. I chose to lead.
To teach.
And yes, to hold them accountable, but without sinking to their level. My dad always said, kindness is strength under control. And for the first time in a long time, I finally understood what he meant. For 3 days, they avoided me. The hallway that used to be a battleground of snide remarks and backhanded compliments was now eerily silent. Doors closed when I entered a room. Laughter vanished the moment my footsteps were heard. No more smugness. No more taunts. Just quiet tension. Heavy. Like everyone was walking barefoot on broken glass. Then one morning there was a knock on my bedroom door.
Soft.
Hesitant. I turned from my desk, where lines of code filled my monitor. Come in. It creaked open. Camille. She stepped in, her confidence stripped to something small, human. Her arms were crossed tightly across her chest, not out of defiance this time, but to hold herself together. She didn't meet my eyes. We signed the contracts. I nodded, keeping my voice level. Good. They weren't easy, she mumbled. You know, the modules. The questions. The one about values, it made me feel like a complete fraud. I turned in my chair, finally facing her. Maybe that's the first honest thing you've said in a while. She looked up, eyes glassy. Do you hate us? I blinked at the question. It hung in the air, raw and vulnerable. No, I said. But I did. For a long time. She sat on the edge of my bed, her shoulders sagging. You know what hurts the most? It's not that we got caught. It's that you were kind. After everything. And we didn't deserve it. I leaned back. So, why did you do it, Camille? The card. The trip. The lies. What made you think I was just disposable? She exhaled shakily. Because that's what Mom taught us. That you were just a burden. The weird girl who didn't know how to wear makeup or act like a woman. Dad died and she started saying things like, don't worry, girls. We'll have the house soon enough. I stared at her. And I believed her, she whispered. I believed that if we took from you, it didn't count as stealing. Because you were just the girl in the corner. The wallpaper. Silent. Invisible. I swallowed hard. I hadn't cried when I saw the charges. Not when they smirked. Not even when they mocked me to my face. But this cut deeper. She saw it. I'm sorry. A pause. A long one. And then I said it. I forgive you. She looked like she might shatter. But forgiveness, I added, isn't a free pass. It's a responsibility. What you do with it, that's on you. That night, I heard Vanessa and Marcus talking in the kitchen. Their voices were low, but the walls in this house were old and thin. I thought she was a nobody, Vanessa whispered, her tone trembling. Some shy little mouse who wouldn't speak up even if she were drowning. Marcus responded evenly. She's more than you ever gave her credit for. She scares me now. She shouldn't. She gave you an out. Vanessa sighed, and there was something in it I hadn't heard in her voice in years, shame. I raised my daughters to take what they wanted, she said slowly. I thought that was strength. I didn't know it would teach them to hurt people. Marcus didn't answer. He let the silence do its job. The next morning, I found a yellow envelope taped to my bedroom door. No note. Just my name on it. Inside, a crumpled photo of my father. Me on his lap. I was 8, smiling. He was laughing, his head thrown back, joy radiating through the old ink. Tucked behind it, folded neatly, was a letter in Vanessa's handwriting. You were his favorite. And I resented you for that. I took it out on you. I let my jealousy make me cruel. I see that now.
I'm sorry.
For everything. It wasn't redemption. It wasn't resolution. But it was a beginning. 3 weeks into the program, Camille built her first mock firewall. Jada started asking real questions about identity theft, digital consent, ethics. Vanessa showed up at every meeting, no longer smug, just present. For the first time, I saw them not as villains, but as people trying to become something better than what they'd been. And me? I stopped shrinking in rooms where I used to fold in on myself. I walked taller. I spoke louder. I started mentoring new recruits in Marcus's company. I found my voice and used it, because strength doesn't come from revenge. It comes from surviving without becoming the thing that tried to break you. Camille started showing up early to every session. She stopped rolling her eyes. She started listening. One day, she stayed behind after the call. You know, I always thought being cruel made me powerful. But you, being calm while we laughed at you? That's real strength. I didn't smile. I just said, now you see it. Jada was slower. She resisted at first. But then one afternoon, I caught her watching a documentary on identity theft. She looked embarrassed. Just curious, she muttered. But her eyes were red. And she didn't stop watching. Vanessa surprised me next. She walked into the kitchen while I was having coffee, slid a folder across the table. Inside were legal papers. Her name removed from the house deed. I want you to own it, she said softly. Fully. I don't deserve to stay here rent-free after what I did. I stared at her. I'll pay rent or leave. Whatever you decide. For the first time, she looked sincere. I nodded.
Stay.
But not as my enemy. As someone trying to make things right. Tears filled her eyes, but she wiped them quickly. That night, I got an email from Marcus. Subject: leadership opportunity. He wanted me to lead the mentorship program. Full-time. Nationwide. He wrote, because of how you handled your own betrayal, 3 more offenders are choosing to stay in the program. You didn't just fix the system, you humanized it. I closed my laptop and exhaled. A few months ago, I was just the quiet girl no one noticed. Now, I was building something real. 3 days later, Camille walked into my room and said, I got a job interview. For what? Entry-level tech support. I want to earn things now. The right way. For the first time, I smiled. Then go kill it.
She grinned.
Not literally, I added. She laughed.
Right.
I forgot you do legal stuff now. 6 weeks passed.
Camille got the job.
She came home crying, not because she failed, but because she got it. On her own. No lies. No shortcuts. I didn't even mention you, she said through happy tears. I wanted to prove to myself I could do it. Jada started volunteering at a local youth center. One night, she admitted, helping others feels better than pretending I'm better than them. I nodded. Told you. She rolled her eyes, but she smiled too. One morning, I found Vanessa in the backyard, pulling weeds. Her nails were chipped, her clothes old. No makeup. Just her, real and raw. She looked up at me. I'm not good at being this. Humble. You're learning. She sighed. I was never a mother to you, and I can't undo that. But if there's anything I can do now, I'm willing to try. That hit me harder than I expected. I didn't say anything. I just sat down beside her, and we pulled weeds. Together. Months later, I stood in front of a room full of people, newments in the fraud prevention program, nervous kids, adults scared of court dates, first-time offenders who'd made the same choices Vanessa and her daughters once did. And I said, sometimes, people hurt you thinking you'll never fight back. But real power isn't in revenge. It's in choosing who you become afterward. In the back row, Camille and Jada were clapping. Vanessa was wiping her eyes. Back home that night, Camille walked into my room holding a cheap, funny little souvenir keychain. A plastic plane. From the Maldives. Still feel guilty, she said. So, I wanted to return what I could. I laughed softly. That's worth more than the trip. She smiled. Maybe next time we go together. With your card. Legally. Only if you fly coach, I said, smirking. She groaned. Ugh, growth is the worst. And just like that, the house wasn't cold anymore. It didn't happen overnight. But kindness, backed